What's up, Model Geeks? It's Brian with BG Model Workshop, and we're doing an update on our Universal Construction Vehicle series. We're working on the Construction Bulldozer, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's actually a fun kit, even though we had a little issue with no part numbers on the parts. We don't know why. It's a thing. It happens. But never having built a bulldozer before, we just took our time, made sure everything matched to the drawings, and the drawings are okay. They're not really awesome, but they're good. And I've had experience building diesel engines in the past. I think I've done a whopping two. So I kind of had a clue of what was going on with this guy here. And I think the parts majority are actually on the engine itself. So once you get the engine built, everything else is just like stuff. So it was cool. Let's go over what we have gotten to so far. Here's one of our blade booms. And what we did was we flicked all the salt off of here to reveal the awesome looking red oxide primer down below. And I'm kind of at a quandary here. I think we used kosher salt, which is a large salt flake, and I was thinking that because it's a larger model kit, even though it's 1/25th scale, it was a larger vehicle, a larger salt flake would probably look cooler, and it does remove a lot of paint. So I was very concerned at the initial point where we flicked off all the salt and then mopped the kitchen floor twice because there was salt all over everything. Painted salt, not mind you, not just regular salt. So so there was a yellow footprints all over the kitchen floor, but crunchy yellow footprints. But we were a little concerned that this was going to be too much of a stark contrast between the red oxide and the actual yellow color. And as a side note, we did use the two color system where we used a little bit of the camel yellow, and then we used a little bit of the chrome yellow from Tamiya. Once we did the actual wash for the rusty stuff, that all went away. It got lost in the mix. So it got lost in the wash, as a matter of fact. So if you want to go ahead and try that, go for it, because we can see on the top here, it's a little bit lighter. We rotate it around, it's a little bit darker, but it's just not enough of a contrast to actually let our eye know that there's supposed to be some sort of difference going on there. So it wasn't. I don't think it was a waste of time because it was a proof of concept, and the concept doesn't work. No, it's okay. I think that if we were custom mixing our own colors, we could have lightened that the lighter color even more so, pale it out even more so, and then we would have seen what we were looking with. But I was using straight out of the can, so it is what it is. So just if you want to go ahead and experiment with that process, go for it. I would like to see if somebody else out there can make that work. I think that would be awesome. But in the meantime, what we did was we flicked all the salt off it. We went back over the whole thing, everything, with Tamiya sanding sponges, and I just used 600 grit sandpaper, and that took down all the little ridges that are between the red oxide and the actual color coat, because there is approximately 2 layers of paint in between the two. So that leaves ridges. Whatever little salt was left behind, that took care of also. So now it's nice and smooth. And then we went over the whole thing with panel liner, accent panel liner, the brown stuff. This stuff leaves this really awesome looking rusty patina type of dullness to it, and it's great because we can use it to actually streak things like on the radiator grill here. Unfortunately, the panel liner does not stick to the raw photo etch metal itself, so that's just a little tip there. We're going to go back over that with some red brown, fill in some of the shiny bits, so we're not too worried about that. And if you guys didn't see this in the previous video, we're using this honeycomb screen. Yep, it's not small. No. And there's your part number. We got it from Detail Master, and this particular sheet was just the exact same width of the grill insert. And I did have to drill this out. We drilled a series of holes all the way around the perimeter. There is a very faint panel line in there that you can follow. We went around it with a Sharpie to bring it to the foreground, and then we drilled a series of holes all the way around, and then we used our patented string saw. It's not really patented. I haven't done anything like that before, but we can even see the yellow plastic is still on there a little bit. But yeah, our string saw, that's just a hoop saw, a coping saw, and then we just tied some string to it, and away we went. Worked perfectly. So that was awesome. The only thing I wish I had done was just added a piece of bracing through here, which I might be able to still sneak in there because, you know, we're not done yet. So I can probably paint that up separately and stick it in there, but a piece of bracing across there would be really cool, like a piece of C-channel put on backwards so you can see the two angles, the grooves, I guess. I don't know what you call it. But you put a piece of C-channel on there backwards would probably really make that look cool. So we're going to give that a try. I just thunk of that right now. And then our blade is looking really cool. So what we did was we just mopped this whole thing down and then went back over it with a Q-tip or a cotton bud for our friends across the pond, and then just dragged down to give it some streaking. It doesn't really show up so much on this side, but this side we get a good effect. Oh, those are coming right at us, aren't they? Let's get those out of the way. I'll put out an eye. But got a nice looking streaking effect on that side. And we're still not done. That's just the brown panel liner. We're going to go back over it with the black panel liner and kind of oil this up a little bit here and there, especially around our hinge areas there. And let's see, yeah, that's pretty much it on that side. But on the front side, we're not done because we wanted to go over this with some ushi powder. The plan is to hit the corners and the sides and the edges, and then maybe even like a little hill of it right through here, a little woo like that, because a lot of the photos I've seen, most of the stuff piles up in the center and it hits the blade, wears off the paint, and polishes the metal down. So that's our plan. We're going to do some ushi powdering on that and try and bring out that detail there. Our tracks, again, we did them on red oxide, and then we hit them with just a hint of yellow paint because a lot of times these guys, they just paint the tracks yellow at the factory. And then I went back over it with one of my favorite colors, light gunmetal from Tamiya, and to give it some shininess. And then we're going to hit this with the panel liner and then we're going to get them muddy. That's right, we're going to get them muddy. And one of the key ingredients for our mud is cornmeal. So not only will it be effective, but it'll be tasty as well, and gluten-free. So that's important in today's society. Our engine's looking really awesome. I showed this a couple days ago. I think it was on Saturday. I did a video and snuck this in. And at that particular point in time, we hadn't done any work on it. As a matter of fact, after I finished filming the video, I went back and did some work on it. And I added in this little piece here to make up the difference because this intake pipe was too short to actually meet up with the compressor. Something might be wrong on how this is attached here. I know I have it the right way around, but for some reason, the exhaust riser here does not meet up with the hole that's in the cowl. So I'm not quite sure what I did wrong or if it's something I actually did wrong, but it looks fairly vertical. So I might have needed to actually cheat this out a little bit, but it manifolds on there. It's the amount of cheating that I could have gotten by tipping this out would not have made up for the difference that we had there. So I was fine with doing this the way it is, and I don't mind. Maybe I'll go back and put some banding on there to make it look like it's an expansion part or something like that. So yeah, again, it's looking really cool. I'm loving it. And let's see here. We're planning on doing some picking out of some of this stuff here. Do a little bit lighter color yellow perhaps, or maybe even just a little bit of silver for like some of the tubing coming out of the side of the engine here. Perhaps that would have been replaced at some point. But I like that. It's looking really, really awesome. So let's get on to the main body. Oh my God, we're at 9.5 minutes already. I apologize, folks. I just got so much to cover here, and it's such a big thing. But our main body is looking awesome. Every technique that I've talked about, we've used on every single part of this kit. So I did not realize that the underside of a Bulldozer looked like that, because I'm pretty sure that if I ever saw the underside of a Bulldozer, I wouldn't be here to tell a tale. But that looks so cool. And this seesaw action here is really slick. I mean, that looks like some sort of dance from the 70s. I love it. That's really cool. And our backside's looking pretty sweet. Never let it be said I never showed my backside on camera. But there we go. All right, guys and gals, we're going to go ahead and end this here since it's such a long video. And we'll talk to you a little bit later. Have a great rest of your week. Bye now.